Sirach 10 and 7. Pride is hateful before God, and by both doth one commit iniquity. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Kol halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Rakaha Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles, double honors and to the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. The 144,000, the would-be judges assigned from heaven to be the judges of earth, the new government on earth as it is in heaven over all nations. No more American government, no more Israeli government, no more Iran government, no more Japanese, and so forth. But the government of heaven, which will be ruled over by who the world ignorantly and fraudulently called Jesus Christ, whose name is Yahushua in the Hebrew, and his 144,000 headed by King David. That will be your governing body here on earth. That is the kingdom of heaven described in the Bible. All right, on earth as it is in heaven, meaning the rules and regulations, the commandments, the laws of the Bible will be enforced on earth by them. And to the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen nations, that have the appearance of the heathen nations. This is not a black only thing. All right, go watch some of the other videos. There's no such thing as black people. People are brown. Looking at an image of 50 Cent off screen. 50 is brown. He's not black. Okay. And to the few Akwaf, meaning the sisters that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm coming at you with another lesson in truth. And we're going to focus on loaded speech. All right, loaded statements. Projection, scheming, and underhand. All right. Because this is how they rule and how they have college courses, education that teaches them to do so, marketing used within government, marketing used, and they're going to provide receipts and evidence of it. All right. And I've known this for quite some time now. All right. And they use it on the American public and on the world stage daily. Because what you'll find is that often people that speak about terrorism and people speak about things that are being done wrong by nations, what you'll find is most cases that those people are guilty of the things that they're speaking of, that they're blaming on other people. And there's no other person that I can think of alive today that does that more than B.B. Milkowski, the guy in the center of the screen there. So, without any further ado, let me get my first scripture, and then I'm going to play a video for you. This is Mark. And the video will be, you'll understand why I read this scripture. All right, this is Mark 3 and 23, and it reads, "And he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan?" Remember, Satan, this is not talking about the spiritual demon Satan or the spiritual left-hand side angel messenger. This is talking about the adversary, the human adversary, Satan, who is Esau, Edom, who is the wicked. All right, there was a people, the Israelites are the saints of the Most High here on earth. And as it tells you in Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. So the wicked are actually in control here on earth. That's why the earth is in such a disarray. All right. So this is talking about them, and they are divided. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house or race be divided, because some of that race is calling itself Jewish, and the other side is calling them white, and they're all Edomites, one race. All right, and then there are other divisions within that. And if a house, a race, be divided against itself, that house, race, cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but have an end. All right, they've been looking so forward to committing all this racial violence against the Israelites, against you brown folk that they call Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But a lot of that violence is going to be against themselves. A huge portion of it. All right, it's going to totally be against themselves. So I'm going to play this video that I got from my beloved April O'Neil, The Water, yet again. I got a couple, actually 3 of them that I want to play. And I wasn't aware of this news, and I'm pretty sure that the majority of you weren't aware of it. So she's going to, this is Representative Melanie Stansberry, all right? And she's going to let you know what happened in the House of Representatives yesterday, because the media didn't tell us. So, without any further ado, we turn the sound up. Senator, Representative Melanie Stansberry.
Hey everyone. Well, I am leaving the Capitol on a wild Tuesday. We just took the second of a surprise vote that was just put on the floor as a motion to adjourn, which is basically to shut down the House, that my colleague Yvette Clark from New York brought after Donald Trump canceled a briefing to Capitol Hill on what he is doing in the Middle East with his unauthorized attack on Iran. Now, this is unprecedented. Let me just explain what a big deal this is. First of all, Article 1 of the United States Constitution is very clear. The power to declare war squarely sits with the United States Congress. You need the approval of the House and the Senate to declare war. It was written into the Constitution by our founding fathers. The president disobeyed and violated the Constitution in launching his attack this weekend. And what is particularly unprecedented about what he has done is that he not only failed to ask for permission from Congress, he has not even briefed both chambers and both sides of the aisle, including the highest ranking members of Congress, including the Gang of Eight, which are the national security and highest ranking members of Congress, who are always briefed, no matter who is president, on what is happening. So we demand answers. We need to know what's going on. But in addition to that, our colleague, Al Green from Texas, brought a resolution to the floor this afternoon calling for the president's impeachment, and the Republicans tried to shut that resolution down. 79 of us voted to sustain the resolution because this president is completely out of control. And at this point, we demand answers, whether that is trying to shut down the House, whether that is bringing him in front of this body to answer questions. This is not acceptable. So we are doing everything we can, and we are fighting back. And I know the American people are demanding answers right now, and we want you to know that we are doing everything in our power to hold him accountable. So that's our update, and it's going to be some wild days ahead. All right, see you guys soon. Bye.
Okay, so since the orchestrated event of 9/11, and the guy in the center was at the center of that, a lot of division among the Edomites has been prevalent, and the ignoring of law, the ignoring of American law, the putting of foreign nations ahead of America at the dismay and destruction of America. Look how far America has fallen and deteriorated since, the 9/11 event, which the narrative that was put into the books and the textbooks does not fit the facts that surround the event. And then the mainstream media, as per usual, refuses to acknowledge or let the facts be heard. It's just like with the whole anti-semantics laws. There was a particular event that took place in World War II, and on October 7th of 2024 or whatever, and or 2023, and when you start looking at the facts of what happened, the facts don't add up. The math is not mathing. All right. And then when you question certain things, when you bring out facts about math that isn't mathing, you get labeled, the anti-semantics, or you get canceled. All right. And then what they do, they push, this hateful projections and loaded speech, which we're going to get into that. So before we do that, we're going to play this video by Candace Owens. All right, when she questioned Pierce about the benefit of America being a partner to Israel, because all I can see is that America is broke, on the verge of World War III, and cities are destroyed, homelessness, drug problems, failed economy, because hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe even trillions at this point, has gone to the state of Israel, which is not beneficial to Americans in any way whatsoever. All right, so here we go.
Just did Piers Morgan this morning. The episode not out yet, and the conversation I had with him was really incredible. I suspect it's going to go pretty viral, because he asked me that very question. He wanted to know why, or if I would support a regime change. Like, if the government is so awful, why not get behind it? And I said, look, if I'm going to support a regime change for an awful government, it's going to be Israel. Okay, it is going to be a regime change in Israel, because that tends to be the government in the Middle East that is imparting terror on the world that actually impacts my American life. Impacts my tax dollars. We're giving them $150 billion. They've taken weapons from us. They're hiding their nuclear weapons, pretending that they don't have them. They've stolen our technology. They're running a sophisticated blackmail ring so that all of our politicians just oblige them. And yeah, so if we're going to do it, like if we're going to do the thing and we're going to say we're not going to be isolationists, maybe we should go after Israel.
Via the Epstein things. Why do you think the Epstein case has never dropped in the names? Because people in the current administration, they're in some of those videos. Their names are on that list. Kanye, he told you in that song, he knows some niggas that went to that island. Why would you go to that island? So, yeah.
Real, okay? I mean, he was relationless. Maybe we should go after Israel, okay? I mean, he was freaking out, and this was the real tell. Freaking out, we'll get to this with Dave Portnoy, about a clip on my show where we talked about why would American troops sign up for this? Like, should they just leave the military? Freaked out. The Zionists were losing their mind over this. We're going to talk about why when we get to Dave Portnoy. But then I asked Piers Morgan, you're going to love this. I asked him to name one good thing that Zionism has brought to my country. It was a very easy question. If it's like, we just got to keep doing this, we got to keep doing the Bibi Netanyahu thing, Bibi Netanyahu dance, Bibi Netanyahu just keeps telling us that, if we don't get involved in a war, it's going to be really terrible for us. You should be able to at least name a couple of good things that Zionism has brought to America. I mean, do you have a clip, by the way, Skylar, of Bibi Netanyahu just listing every war that we should get involved in? Yeah, let's run that.
Yeah, I got to show you this.
Of Bibi Netanyahu.
Hold on.
Yeah, let's
see if I can
listing every
pause
war that we should get involved in. Yeah, let's run that.
Hold on. Gotta show it. I'm trying to catch it.
At least name a couple of good things that Zionism has brought to America. I mean, do you have a clip, by the way, Skylar, of Bibi Netanyahu just listing every war?
It's smooth. It's so fast. But basically, it's spelling his name like Yahoo. I don't know if that's a diss or if that's, but it's kind of funny. But it wouldn't let me catch it. I was trying to freeze it because, it's putting up the verbiage at the bottom of the screen as she's speaking, like a ticker tape.
Name a couple of good things that Zionism has brought to America. I mean, do you have a clip, by the way, Skylar, of Bibi Netanyahu just listing every war that we should get involved in? Yeah, let's run that.
If you take away the Soviet Union and its chief proxy, the PLO, international terrorism would collapse. If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region. Obviously, we'd like to see a regime change, at least I would, in Iran, just as I would like to see in Iraq. The question now is a practical question. What is the best place to proceed? It's not a question of whether Iraq's regime should be taken out, but when should it be taken out? It's not a question of whether you'd like to see a regime change in Iran, but how to...
Are there any other nations that you would recommend that the United States launch preemptive attacks upon at this point?
The answer is categorically yes. The two nations that are vying, competing with each other, who will be the first to achieve nuclear weapons, is Iraq and Iran. But a third nation, by the way, is Libya as well. Libya is trying very rapidly to build an atomic bomb capability. So you have here now three nations. All stand together to stop Iran's march of conquest, subjugation, and terror.
Beautiful. Beautiful. We can come out of this. That is just... Thank you, Bibi, for telling us again that American sons and daughters must die overseas because of weapons of mass destruction that we just never seem to find.
That never existed. So the point is, though, is that getting down to the point, to the nitty gritty, to divide, there being no more wisdom and loaded speech. Because this is what Esau Edom does every day. That's probably his biggest weapon right now. It's loaded speech. And we're going to give you the AI breakdown of what that means because I screenshotted it. But this is Habakkuk 2:16. And it reads, Thou art filled with shameful glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be upon thy glory. All right. And so everyone is on to the West and on to, and these people, are the least liked people on the earth right now. They're very hated. And there's clearly no wisdom in them because they keep using the same playbook over and over again. And the main weapon in that playbook is projection. It's to the crimes that they're committing, they project onto other people as if they're committing those crimes. This is Jeremiah 49:7. Concerning Edom, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, that's the army of heavens that are coming to take the earth from these wicked people that rule it. All right. And be judges, and set up the judges, that 144,000 that we speak about in the beginning of every video. All right. That will enforce the laws of heaven on earth as it is in heaven. It says, concerning Edom, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more intimate? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? The fact that I have all these books, the fact that I'm able to use their number one device, the internet and AI, to prove that they're liars, to prove that they're murderers, to prove that they're schemers, to prove that they do underhanded schemes and projection in order to put themselves in a position of power and stay in power, is evidence that there's no wisdom. All right. They were so proud that they foolishly wrote down their real history and didn't destroy the information. All right. Which is leading them up, which is leading them ultimately to be so divided to where it's just a matter of time before these people start pew-pewing each other. As it's just like we were listening to Repetitive Stansberry when she was speaking, how divided they are. Okay. This is Sirach. Well, not Sirach, but 2nd Ezra 15:14. And it reads, Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, because it's too much, too little, too late. This thing is not going to pull back. It's only going to escalate and continue. And eventually, like I said, these racist, hateful Edomites, they're going to kill a lot of you Israelites, but they're going to kill just as many of themselves. They're going to pew one another. It's definitely going to be Egyptian versus the Egyptian. All right. But it says, For the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So it's going to be a free-for-all here in Babylon. All right. No rule of law. Okay. You're going to have Rambos running around here with no rule of law. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. You're going to also have hordes of men who are highly skilled out there maneuvering around to take resources from other people. Because remember, you got your preppers, and then you got the people who are prepping to take from the preppers. So I guess it's just easier to store guns and bullets and get with men who know how to breach than it is to actually spend money on food, water, and et cetera, et cetera. It's like, well, they brought all these skills back from war. They may as well use them. And sometimes they're going to come up against some of the preppers have those same skills. The problem is they're not going to have the numbers, because there's going to be more people with those skills that didn't prep, the food way, but prepped the breach, the breaching methods. It's going to be more of them than it is the other way around. All right. So it's going to get nasty out here. And the thing is that the scripture said that the Lord's servants shall eat. So they're going to pew each other, and all that food stuff is going to be left for the Lord's elect anyway. The very people you hate. But it says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Basically, going to be F the police, F the president, F all that. All right. As a matter of fact, some of these people are going to be led by high-ranking military individuals, etc., because many of them are ready to break off. All right. And are doing it. A lot of people are resigning and leaving the military. And some of them, the men are going to be loyal to them. Yeah, you're going to have some issues here in America, man. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. All right. Oh, I skipped the line. Hold on. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All right. It's going to get really, really bad. Checkpoints, etc., etc. And so the military is not going to, because you're going to have the ones who want to follow what's right, the law of command, lawful commands, and then you're going to have those who just follow the command. And right now, command is not giving out lawful orders. All right, across the board. Command is not giving out lawful orders, but the law that governs men of war says that they do not have to follow unlawful orders. And anything within a violation of the Constitution is an unlawful order. Anything was in violation of the U.S. USCMJ, Universal Code of Military Justice, or something like that, is not a lawful order. You can really have some major problems here in America. And the man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So the citizens are going to be caught in the middle of this. All right. I just watched a video of some Jake, who clearly was former military, said that last thing you need is people like him running around without rule of law. Because he said because it comes down to if he needs something for him and his family to survive, he taking out the whole block. So, and he's probably, done those sort of things overseas for these damn Edomites. Shame on him. All right. So let's play this next video. And this one's about, 4 or 5 minutes long, so I'm going to let it play and then finish with a couple scriptures. Well, at least most of it. Or maybe I'll just have to do a part 2. All right, because, yeah. Matter of fact, this is definitely going to have to be a part 2. Let me, before I play this, let's go into the definitions. Let's get those loaded speeches that they give, telling you that, this and that and the other to form an opinion. But here's the AI. I'll bring it into the screen. It's a screenshot. All right. And it says AI overview. Loaded language, because I put in loaded speech. Loaded language refers to words or phrases that carry strong emotional implications and influence an audience beyond their literal meaning. These words provoke strong, positive, or negative reactions, often used to persuade, manipulate, or appeal to the emotions rather to logic, and no one uses that more or better than the West. And Bibi Netanyahu is a champion of it. Trump's pretty good at it too. All right. So when I looked up loaded speech and projection in the Winston Simplified Dictionary Encyclopedia Edition with biblical references. All right. You've seen me with this book many a times. So we're going to go straight to projection. All right, which is on page 772. And I'm going to try to bring it into the screen. You can screenshot it. Hold on, there we go. And you can see definition number 3. Projection. A scheming or planning. All right. Yep. It says the presentation on a surface usually planned of points. Now, that didn't give you a whole lot. I did tell you it was a scheming and a planning. So I decided, well, let's look up scheming and planning. All right. This is where it gets juicy. Scheme. All right. And a schemer. Okay. So I'm going to put that into the screen. And that's on page 876. Okay. Scheme and a schemer. See schemer at the bottom of the screen? I mean, in the center there. Screenshot. All right. This is kind of hurting my shoulder here. So screenshot it, and I'm going to pull it away and read it now. And it says, and this is the highlighted part. Number 1, a carefully arranged and well-ordered systematic arrangement or plan. System, tabulated plan or statement of a schedule. An underhand plot or device. All right. So they're planning something wicked. And they're using loaded speech to appeal to your emotions and not to logic, not to facts. All right. Schemer. And so I jump down to the second definition. And it says, scheme. The more indefinite of two is always narrower in scope, often in names, artful, underhand plan. Underhand plan. All right, so let's go to underhand now, which is on page 1087. And it's underhand and underhanded. So this one I'll actually be able to hold because of the angle. Underhand and underhanded. Okay. Screenshot. This is one you want to have. All right. You're making your own evidence folder. Okay. Let's read it. It says, done secretly, especially by meaningless, acting secretively, sly, deceitful. The first scripture I read, injuries done by deceit. All right. Then it says, then it's going to bring up baseball and cricket. All right. So let's go to underhanded. Deceptive, secret, sly, unfair, or dishonest in dealings. All right. Done in an underhand manner. And that is Western politics. That is the way of Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. That is what they do. All right. So I think we're going to end it here because I'm going to do part 2 later and bring out the few more precepts that I have and another video to conclude this lesson. So all praises, glory, and honor be unto Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakaha Kwadash, Kwam Yasharala Abab Abal. See you in the next lesson, Lord's willing.